how James Louie bought this business for $1 and now making $2 million a month. In a world where many businesses don't last more than 5 years, a Chinese family has been running a family business for 100 years, which they acquired for $1 in 1941. The business earns approximately $2 million every month, managed to survive through all the ups and downs of the business world. The city's oldest restaurant, founded in 1879, has withstood World War II, the Spanish flu pandemic, the Great Depression, World War II, the Great Recession, and months of protests that have closed many of the nearby businesses. Even during the pandemic, when many other businesses weren't able to hold their ground, Huber's continued to thrive. In this video, we will explore the journey of James Louie, who turned this business he bought for $1 into a brand generating $2 million for the family every month. So, let's begin. Huber's has carved out a position for itself in a city flooded with trend, setting and trend, following restaurants by keeping to its traditions while meticulously inventing new ones. One of Huber's founders and manager, James Louie, has revealed that the restaurant, being a vintage business, does not strictly follow trends. The owners need to preserve their integrity and individuality. History. To better understand the current status of the restaurant, a trip down memory lane will prove beneficial. The family's connection to Huber's dates back to the turn of the 20th century, when Jim Louie, a cook and first-generation Chinese immigrant, started working as a chef for Frank Huber, the restaurant's original owner and namesake. Jim Louie pioneered some of the restaurant's famous dishes, including the turkey and coleslaw, which are still offered today. He worked as a cook at Huber's until Frank Huber died in 1912. Jim Louie assumed control of the company's management and operations and remained there until his death in the 1950s. He began employing almost entirely first-generation Chinese workers. Jim Louie provided them with a high-quality work environment that they would have struggled to find elsewhere during an era of tremendous racial prejudice and discrimination. As a result, a steady crew of staff members grew into their responsibilities over time. The restaurant did not have any turnover. This increased employee efficiency and kept Huber's popularity. From what is perceived to be a heart attack, Jim Louie died in this restaurant, to which he had dedicated so much time of his life. After his death, his nephew Andrew Louie took over complete ownership of this restaurant. Andrew passed on this ownership to his 3 children later on. James Louie, who wanted to be a professional baseball player, was destined to run the family business alongside his siblings, even though he had never intended to do so, despite working at the restaurant from early in life. Inside the restaurant, let's enter this old-age heritage that stands tall and proud in Portland. Just look at the arched, stained glass skylights, mahogany paneling, and terrazzo flooring found here. Original fixtures such as spittoons, ceiling lighting, a pewter wine stand, cash registers, fans, and operable clocks made of brass remain reminders of its rich history. The Povey brothers' studio designed the restaurant's golden and amber skylight, a legacy of tradition combined with innovation. He created a balance between new traditions that he created while keeping the restaurant's antique roots. According to him, the ratio of tradition to innovation is 50-50. For example, the restaurant's current famous Spanish coffee has become a time-tested staple at Huber's. While turning their lunch place into an evening business, the restaurant owners had no idea that this coffee would become so famous. Spanish coffee served at the Fernwood Inn in Milwaukee was exactly what the restaurant needed to lure in evening customers. This coffee, along with the restaurant's signature turkey meal, is the restaurant's hallmark. Huber's prepares roughly 100 pounds of turkey each day to make at least a dozen distinct meals, including the classic turkey dinner, hot and cold sandwiches, turkey masala, cordon bleu, piccata, gumbo, drumsticks and wings, and Chinese beaky turkey, a tradition that dates back to the 1800s. The owner's family is known for their extraordinary management. Their careful innovations have kept the business alive for more than a decade. The house turkey was preserved as a speciality due to prohibition and Louie's conversion of the bar to a restaurant. Louie had been cooking the turkey for 29 years and knew how to do it right and create the best in town. The menu, however, extended to include steaks, lamb chops, roast duck, and shellfish. Because the restaurant is also a speakeasy, you could order a Manhattan in a coffee cup. James Louie strongly believes in "Don't kill the goose that laid the golden egg." He wants nothing about the restaurant to change in the next 100 years, as the heritage is what keeps the restaurant thriving. Prioritizing staff. The strategy of prioritizing staff continues in Huber's to date. James Louie considers the staff the restaurant's most important resource. He strongly believes that it is the restaurant staff that has the ability to transform a mediocre meal experience for clients into a tantalizing one, and vice versa. Old is gold. These ages, old saying stands true in the case of Huber's. Its historical heritage is one of the biggest underlying factors of its enduring success. According to James, the guests, especially those from out of town, are very excited to visit Portland's oldest restaurant. Huber's vintage ambience is a treat to the customer's sight. Over the course of a century, the restaurant's locations have changed. The current location keeps almost all of the original saloon's features, earning it a spot on the National Register of Historic Places in 1979. Rather than reinventing the business to highlight its Chinese American history, the Louie family has welcomed and built on the place's traditions. The accessories in the restaurant, such as the brass ship's clock above the door and the pewter wine bucket, are over a century old. Withstanding the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, Huber's owners feared that the restaurant could be history close to their lease renewal in July 2021. The state's second closure during COVID-19 occurred at the worst conceivable time for the firm. Huber's is well known for four things: its dark-paneled dining room, its atrium in the historic Railway Exchange building, its a turkey and ham dinner, its flaming Spanish coffee. Thanksgiving and Christmas, two major turkey and ham meal holidays, were expected at that time. Weather's inclination toward coolness was also likely to give rise to the demand for Spanish coffee. The restaurant anticipated recouping some of its losses by reintroducing takeout meals. However, 40% of its revenue comes from liquor sales, and state law prohibits takeout drinks. Many of the family proprietors were also nearing retirement age. In case the business closes, they would have to leave the business they love. They had hoped that at least one of their children would take over when the time came, but that didn't appear to be the case. Other Oregon restaurateurs with multi-million-dollar empires include Bill McCormick of McCormick & Schmick's, and Gus Dussin of the Old Spaghetti Factory. Many others have attempted similar expansions and failed miserably. The Louies avoided the temptation to relocate to Happy Valley. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, and they owe no money other than their monthly lease payments. Revenues remain stable at around $2 million each month. They were able to repay a $500,000 loan for restaurant expansion the last time they borrowed money. The strategy helped James Louie continue the $2 million business in the family's grip without fail. How the family has successfully retained the centuries old family business and expanded is praise-worthy. The next challenge will be determining how to retain the business in the family. The sons of James Louie have indicated no interest in taking over. Brianna, his 2.5-year-old granddaughter, is fascinated with everything. She's also getting to the age where tales about golden eggs make sense. We hope to see this restaurant stay in business for another 100 years. This is all for today. Do tell us the most interesting takeaways from the video in the comment section. Stay tuned by subscribing to the channel for more interesting updates.
It was our pleasure to spend some time with you. Thank you for watching the WTH channel. Let us know what you think of this video in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe for more content.